Alright, so right now I'm filming on the DJI Action 4, and it's got really good low light capabilities, which you probably already knew. I mean, check this out. This is the lighting I'm using right now. It's just, yeah, it's that. So it's really good. But I really wanted to stack it up against the Insta360 One RS with the 1-inch sensor, basically to see if 1 inch does really make a difference.
Mr. Black.
Oh, and before we start that, I just want to say welcome to the channel. My name's Danny Black. I love to share with you cool gear that comes my way and also show you how it works, and sometimes like this, compare it to other things. So if you like that kind of stuff, don't be a stranger. Click that button right there, and I'll put links to everything down in the description, plus a surprise link. So we'll get to some really crazy low light shots later on. But I first want to compare these two cameras in more of a touristy scene like Eat Street. And looking back on the footage at 4K 30 frames per second, stabilization on, this is what it looks like. And here's the deal, the 1-inch sensor gives you a lot more detail in that low light footage. But I mean, the Action 4 is great too. It also captures some different things that you wouldn't see on this 1-inch sensor. And maybe you're like, oh, you gotta compare the GoPro to this. But then if I did, at this current moment, most of you guys would be like, wait, no, you gotta wait for the next model of the GoPro to come out to really be fair. But you know what, screw it. Here is what the Hero 11 looks like with the same settings, 4K at 30 frames per second, and hyper smooth on. I mean, the GoPro still does look decent in low lighting, but you see a lot more distortion because of that stabilization. And with low lighting, you're supposed to kind of take off that stabilization to get better quality. And what's cool about all of these cameras now is that the gyro information will get put into that SD card, and then you can actually stabilize it later in post-production. But in my testing, the Insta360 software does a way better job than the other ones at stabilizing the footage. I mean, just have a look at this. This looks really good. But I know a lot of you watching probably aren't going to be going off and needing to do all that post-production. You just want something to work. You're probably going on vacation. You're going to Disney World and it's nighttime and you want to capture some good low light footage. And this is where I think the Action 4 does a really good job at getting that low light footage, keeping the stabilization on, and giving that wide field of view so that you can get that immersive experience. Now up here on Mount Kutha, looking at the city in the darkest scenario, both cameras are on the tripod and the stabilization is turned off, and you can see the difference in how the Action 4 kind of like brightens up those lights. If you throw the GoPro into that mix with the exact same settings, it gets a lot darker. It's harder to really see what's going on there. Now, if we scale it into the city scene, we could see the level of detail and how much each one captures and creates, and obviously the 1-inch is going to look better, but I mean, they both do a good job. Even in darker situations, sometimes the Action 4 does a better job lighting up the main subject. But one really important thing I want to note is that this camera came out over 1.5 years ago, so it's been out for a while. They're probably due for an upgrade. And I'm not really even trying to sell this because you can't even really get this anywhere. I mean, maybe you can get one on Amazon right now, so check out that link in the description if you want to pick this up. It's a really cool system, and I am excited to see if they do an upgrade, but until now, if you're needing a good action camera, I think that the Action 4 is going to be the right choice. And having said that, let's have a little bit of fun with it. I just want to share some low light footage that I got from the Action 4, where we can change the settings, even shooting in 4K 120 frames per second, all the way to 1080p at 240 frames per second. And also shout out to my intern, Colin, for holding that fire. So yeah, it looks really cool, and tweaking those ISO settings and things like that in pro mode, you can get a lot better quality in low light, so there's a lot of fun that you can have with the Action 4. But the major question that we're asking is, will that 1-inch sensor make a difference? And the answer is, yeah, it does make a difference. But another thing to point out is that the iPhone 13 Pro that I have, that does not have a 1-inch sensor, and look how good the picture quality looks with low light. So maybe the answer is the size doesn't really matter. It's really the technology inside of the camera that makes the difference. Alright, well that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I have a lot of really cool videos coming out soon, so make sure you stay tuned, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Mr. Black.
Can we call you Uncle Blackie?
No.